What's up, guys? Mason the Rock Henderson here, and ultimately, this is a very frustrating game. Not because of the tie, not because of the result. Overall, a tie at Panama, not terrible, but I just I don't understand some of the decisions tonight. I don't understand some of Bruce Arena's decisions. I don't understand some of the decisions of the players on the field. Overall, it's a very disappointing performance. And by that I mean there's some things that we could have done better. And ultimately, this was actually a good tie for us. It should have been where we nearly get one, and it's actually Panama that they held on. We were unlucky not to get the win against them, but ultimately we were the ones that were lucky to get the draw here. I mean, you look at some of the chances that they had and the lack of chances we created up top. I mean, we were lucky here. Not saying that we didn't have some chances, but overall, I mean, Panama controlled the game for a majority of it. It wasn't until like the final 20 minutes where they started to slow down a little bit that we finally started getting some real push forward. But even then, the problem is not that we have possession or that we don't have possession. The problem is the mentality of the players. I don't know if this is Bruce Arena or if this is just the players that are out there for some reason have this mentality. But it feels like it's Jurgen Klinsmann again. It feels like we're back to the Klinsmann era where it's just pass and pass and pass and pass and pass. We are not that type of team. We are not the team that's going to, okay, let's move it around our back line a little bit. Let's try to play around in our back. Let's try to wait for a good opening. No, we are a direct team. Our back line tonight consisted of two defenders who honestly have not been involved internationally that often. Gonzalez a little bit more than Ream, but not really that often are they involved in our international team. You got Villafania, who's in our team, I think, for the first time in a while. Then you got Zusi, who's not even a right back. And yet we're playing around in our back line. And then you get the ball to Bradley, who's the slowest player with his touch. That was where most of their chances came from. It was from bad passes or too long on the touch, and now they either poke it away or we poke it to them, and now they're back at us. Why did we continue to do that? Throughout the entire freaking game, that was our game plan. Let's just pass around the back. Let's just keep it moving, keep it moving. And it either turned into, okay, either Nagby or Pulisic picked it up and they were going down the line and actually attacking for the first time, or Panama pressured really high. We did something stupid, we made a mistake, and either they won it or it was just a long ball straight to their defense or to their keeper. That was all it was this entire game. We hardly really had a threat. Even when we were on the ball, it was almost always just in our back line, and that was it. There was no threat. It was, I don't know, like I said, I don't know whose idea it was. I don't know if that's just, they've been playing under Klinsmann so long, they've got that idea ingrained in their heads, or if Bruce Arena said, hey, we're going to do this tonight. Either way, it's stupid, and something should have changed. But they come out second half, did the exact same thing, and for a majority of the second half, like I said, until the final 20, 15 minutes, somewhere in there, when the subs came on, when Bedoya came on, at that point, we finally started taking it to him a little bit, mainly because Bedoya is that kind of player. But, I mean, we were so much under pressure because we're dropped back and we're all back here and we're all playing in the back and we're hardly getting forward at all. We're hardly trying to, let's get it going, let's go direct. That's our game. That is what we are best at. When we play direct, when we go down, take it down the line or move the ball quickly, that's when we look at our best. And yet, for some reason, we just think, let's just play around on our back line. Oh crap, now we're under pressure. So, that was the biggest problem in this game. And ultimately, like I said, it led to a game where Panama will feel like they should have won this game. They had the best chances of all of the chances. We had a couple that probably should have gone in as well, but you think about some of the saves Howard had to make, a couple of those another keeper might not have made. So if Howard's not in, they're up 3-1 instead of it being a 1-1 draw. And so that's where I'm going to start. Howard, I mean, honestly, we still need him. I know he's 38, I know he's getting up there in age, but we still need him. I mean, God, just some of the saves he pulls off, a lot of the talking he has to do to the defense because they don't understand and they don't talk to each other. There's a lack of communication in the defense. Tim Howard is there. Tim Howard is talking to him. And that's always nice to have back there. Up into the defense, Graham Zusi at right back, not a right back, but considering that fact, he actually did pretty well. I mean, honestly, when you think about the fact that he probably, I don't know if he's ever played right back before. Honestly, I was pleased. He made some good challenges. He had to really work because they were going down his side almost all the time. It's like they wanted to attack him a lot. And so for what he had to go through tonight, I thought he did okay. You know, he's not used to that position. He's not used to having to track back and be a really defensive player, but he works hard. And honestly, that's what he made up for. What he lacked in his defensive prowess, he made up for with his hard work. And a couple times there was a moment where it feels like that guy is through and all of a sudden he kicks it off his shins and out for a goal kick. So I was really pleased with Zusi and how hard he worked today, especially considering he doesn't know that position. Ream and Gonzalez in the middle. There's just a lack of leadership back there. It feels like every single time the ball was coming up into the midfield, where it should be Bradley or Jones stepping in to win it, it's always Ream and Gonzalez getting pulled out of position to make a challenge, and all it takes is a little flick on, and now it's a dangerous ball. So many times it happened. And you would think at some point they'd say, okay, let's not get sucked into the midfield, let's not get pulled out of position. No. Nobody said a thing. Nobody changed that. It was always, there they go, there they go, there they go. A couple times, Panama finally started figuring it out. A couple times, flicked on, and now it's one-on-one with the other defender who stayed back. And it's like they couldn't figure it out. They couldn't figure out to stay back, to not get sucked out of position. I don't know why. And honestly, it kind of shows why we need John Brooks in there. With Brooks, we have a bit of a leader back there. I know he sometimes makes mistakes, but at least that doesn't happen. And if it did happen, it wouldn't happen again because somebody's telling them, hey, stay. Stay where you're supposed to. And part of that, I'll talk about the midfield in a second, but part of that is the midfield also needs to drop off a little bit because both Bradley and Jones were letting the guys behind them, and then that's all they see is what's in front of them. They don't look around and say, oh, there's a guy behind me, I need to defend. So now the defenders are the ones having to step out to defend. It really should be Bradley or Jones dropping off to do that defensive work. But I'll talk about them in a second. Villafania on the left really got exposed tonight. I don't really think he had a whole lot to do against Honduras. So we didn't really see whether or not he was a good defender or a great defender or an average defender. Tonight kind of showed he's an average defender. There were a lot of times where he's either beat on pace or he's not smart enough. He's diving in. He's getting cut too easy. That being said, he did make some good challenges. So, like I said, average. He does some good things here and there, but overall, I don't think he's really doing anything special that's going to help us at that left back position. Into the midfield, Bradley and Jones. Bradley, honestly, somebody just needs to nut up and say, you know what, Bradley, I know you feel like you belong here, that you deserve this position, but you don't. I can think of just so many moments where you expect somebody who is the captain, who's been there, who plays every minute of every game, you expect that player to be the best player on the field. He's not. He does some good things every now and then. He has a moment where he wins the ball, or he wins the tackle, or he works hard, and sometimes he has a good pass. But overall, the mistakes at least cover up all of the good things he does. So most of the time, I think the mistakes outweigh the good stuff that he does. But they at least, everything good that he does, there's a mistake for that good thing. Why is he still playing? That is not a professional player. That may work in the MLS. That does not work on the international level. If you're going to if you have 10 passes out of the night, 5 of those passes are going straight to the other team, or is a ball that's behind the player, or is not to them. If you're losing possession on 5 out of your 10 passes, if your passing percentage is below 75 in the midfield, which I'm pretty sure that, unless you count, maybe all of his short passes make up for that. Maybe that's why they don't see the passing percentage is low. But honestly, I'm just from the counting alone that I'm doing, watching some of his bad passes compared to some of his good passes, the bad passes are at least half. And when you're the center midfielder in there, when you're the guy that's there every single game, you're supposed to be the distributor, you're supposed to be the leader in that midfield, that's not good enough. Maybe we don't have anybody better, but I can't imagine that we don't have anybody better than that. And if we do have a similar player where they make mistakes, at least put somebody in there who's going to work hard throughout the game. Because the one thing that pisses me off more than how many mistakes he makes is how many times I watch him make a mistake and then he's slow to get back. He's not tracking back. He's not tracking the other midfielder coming up. Like I said before, letting the midfielders in behind, so now they're at the defense. The amount of times I see him walking or jogging is ridiculous considering how many times he makes mistakes that causes us to now have to defend. It's bizarre to me. It is so bizarre to me that nobody looks at this and says, we need somebody else in there. Either he's got to step up or we need to replace him. Put him on the freaking bench, get him off the field, because right now he is not cutting it for us. And honestly, you can talk about all the mistakes that other players make. You can talk about, oh, we don't have a defense, or the attack wasn't that great tonight. It starts in the midfield. From your distributor, it starts from there. When he is slow on the ball, when he is giving the ball away half the time, that's not good enough. And that's the guy that everybody depends on. So whenever he's not cutting it, that pretty much brings the entire team down. And I'm pretty sure you can take a look back over the past few years. You can look at how much Bradley's been involved in all of this, and look at how poor our results have been. And you could probably talk about, oh, well, when Bradley started really dropping off, that's when the whole team started dropping off, because that player is very important. When we play a 4-4-2 like this, that player in there, he's the key to everything. He makes everything tick. He's the one that plays the ball around. If that player's a terrible player, it shows. And it showed. Against Honduras, he actually worked hard for the first time in forever. Look what happened, 6-0. It was an easy game, no problem. Tonight, he's not working hard, he's slow, he's lazy on the ball, he's giving it away again. Look what happens. 1-1 game. We were held, we were pressured, it was a difficult game. A lot of that has to do with his performances. So, done talking about him. I think I've complained about him enough. Jones, not great, but not terrible either. So, better than Bradley, but still not good enough. Especially considering the fact that I've seen him play really well before, but tonight it was just like he was too focused on doing too much. It's like he was trying to get too far forward and now he's not getting back, or he stayed back and now we need him up, helping out a little bit. I don't know. It was too all over the place. He wasn't really contained to one part of the field. His passes were average. His defense was average. He was average out there. He wasn't anything special, but he wasn't our worst player either. So take from that what you will. Going up into the attack, our two wings, Nagbe and Pulisic. I don't think Nagbe should have been on the field at the start, just being honest. I think Bedoya is a much better player than him, mainly from the fact that Bedoya is so much more dangerous off the ball. For Nagbe, I've started to notice what his game is. His game is very much on the ball. Whenever he gets on it, he's dangerous. He's dribbling at you. If you let him get up to speed, he can hurt you. Problem is, though, a lot of those dribbles turn into nothing. There are too many times where he picks it up, he beats one guy, and he's either dribbling across the field where he could have just passed it across, or he's dribbling and dribbling and dribbling into pressure. Instead of beating one guy, beating another guy, and then laying it off, he's got to do something else. He's got to do something else. He's got to beat one more guy. It's a little too much, and it's starting to show. I've seen that part of his game. I think they were starting to pick up on it as well. All you got to do is just let him dribble under pressure, and that's about it. That's all he's got to his game is that dribbling. Bedoya has so much more to his game than that. He can dribble on it. He can pass. He can move off the ball. He does well defensively. So, I don't know. Nagbe overall, not the worst player, but also just like Jones, could have been so much more from him, I think. Just if he if he'd pick up his head and move the ball a bit more, I think he could be a very effective player. Pulisic, once again, one of our most dangerous players on the field. Just from his hard work alone, obviously he has a lot of talent. He has a lot of ability on the ball. But I'm just watching him. He's working back. He's defending well. He's blocking shots that were dangerous. And then on top of that, he's putting pressure on the defense in their part of the field. And one of those turns into a goal. But it's beyond that. It's just every single time they go near him with the ball, it's concerning for them because he's just a constant threat. He's there, he's putting pressure. He works so hard. I'm surprised to see him doing it for a full 90 minutes, but he does. There were times later on where you could see he was getting a little legged, a little tired. But overall, I mean, he works very hard for the team. And I think, honestly, some of these more experienced players, the ones that are older and they're talking about, oh, they need to be the leaders, I think they could take a few pointers from him because he's doing more work than half of those experienced players. Go up into the front two. Dempsey did okay for Dempsey. Just obviously he's not one of the first choice strikers just because he's older and he's not moving as much as he used to. And you can see that part of his game isn't there anymore. That constant movement, the getting into the right places. He used to be an excellent poacher. And he just put himself in the right position. The ball would drop at his feet. Somehow he knew where to be, and that's all it took. Now his game is he's still a poacher, but he's not in the right places as much as he used to be. He's not moving around as much as he used to. Still doing a lot, still working hard up there, but you can see the age, I guess the physical part of his game isn't as great as it used to be, and it did show tonight. I mean, the Panamanian back line was very, very strong and very physical. He didn't have that. However, you go over to our other striker, Altidore, who does have that physical side of his game and didn't use it at all. Probably our biggest, our fastest striker. What did he do? Nothing. And it's funny because one of the announcers was talking about, they put a really good challenge on Altidore. They're having to put up with the fight of Altidore. I'm like, what fight? At what point did Altidore put up a fight? I never saw that. I never saw him putting up a fight. I never saw him going up for a challenge and really holding up possession and trying to fight for the ball. I always saw the ball comes in, he either gets knocked off of it or he's bodied off of it, and then that's it. Nothing else. I'm sorry, but when you're that big, when you have that much strength, and that's your game is the big, strong part of it, you fight for the ball. I think best example, you look at Diego Costa for Chelsea. There are times where defenses in the Premier League make it very, very hard for him because they know he's a physical player. They know to be physical on him. They know to knock him around a little bit. What does he do most of the time? He fights back. He works harder. He puts up more of a fight. He says, oh, you're going to knock me around? I'm going to knock you around. What does Altidore do as soon as a fight comes in? Oh, I know the ball is right there next to my feet, but I'm just going to be upset that I didn't get the ball. Man, that's it. That's all he does. And I don't understand how, as a striker, you can see the ball drop next to you and not immediately go, that's mine. I can tell you from experience, as a player, anytime the ball gets near my feet, I want that ball. I don't see that from Altidore. I didn't see it tonight, at least. Against Honduras, yeah, I saw that. I saw him moving well. I saw him, he wanted to get on the ball. I saw him wanting to get on the ball. Not tonight, because it's too hard. It was too hard for him. The defense was knocking him around. They were physical. That's too hard. I don't want to have to do that. He is such... I don't know if that's actually what he's like out there on the field, but that's what his body posture tells me. That's what I see every time he drops his shoulders because I didn't get the ball, and he's done. Anytime he loses the ball, anytime he loses possession or he doesn't win a battle, he's done. His body posture turns off. He's here. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of watching that type of player because I see it at the high school level. You are playing for your international team. You're playing for your country. Get out there and work your butt off. Stop being such a drama queen. Stop, I didn't win the ball. Just fight for it. That's all you have to do is just go get the ball. You're able to do it. You just don't want to put in the work to do it. That's all it is. So clearly there are a couple players in the starting lineup did not perform how they should have performed, did not live up to the expectations. As far as the subs are concerned, the first one was pretty much exactly what I wanted. No. Was it the first one? It was the first one, yeah. Bedoya comes on for Nagby. I still think it should have happened earlier. I still think he probably should have started the game. But he comes on, didn't do as much as I wanted him to do. But I think part of that is just, you got to get him into the flow of the game. And when you put him on with only, 15 minutes left, that's not enough time for him to really get integrated into the game. So, I don't know. I feel like he should have gotten more time. He really should have been on there from the start so he could have worked hard, worked his way into the game, and probably been a lot more dangerous than Nagby was today. His next one on was Acosta for Jones. Don't think Jones should have come off just because, at the very least, he was an average player. He was putting in average work. And like I said, Bradley, too many mistakes. He's not good. He's not playing well. So that was my only complaint there was I think Bradley should have come off over Jones. But we can't touch Bradley. We can't take him off because he's our best player. He's our captain. So, whatever. As far as I'm concerned, Bradley is one of those players that for some reason continues to play without a good reason. He's been there the longest. Okay, so if he's not playing well, there are players that are better than him. Get him off. And so, Costa came on. He worked hard, but didn't really see a whole lot from him. Just mainly going forward. Defensively, we didn't really have much to do after Bedoya came on. Part of that was, Bedoya didn't really change that much, but there was that effort coming back to win the ball that I think Bedoya brought on the field. So after he came on, we definitely saw a lot more possession, and you could tell Panama was really tired at that point. So a lot of their chances came from those long balls that they were trying to outrun the defense, and that was pretty much it. The rest of it was we just had possession, we were just moving the ball around. Not well enough, obviously, like I said before, but, Acosta didn't really have much to do defensively, but going forward I didn't see a whole lot from him. And then the final one to come on was Areola, came on for, Altidore. He went to the right, and Pulisic actually moved up as kind of a second striker alongside Dempsey, which I don't mind. I think kind of like how Hazard does at Chelsea, there are those moments where a player who is a very good in-behind the striker player can also kind of play as a second striker off of the main striker. And so I think that was kind of the thought process. Didn't really get to see a whole lot of it because they were pretty much tired at the end of it because Pulisic was pretty much the only one working constantly throughout most of the game. And then Dempsey, like I said, just doesn't have that same, physical ability that he did. But Areola came on, did pretty well. He worked really, really hard on that right wing. Beat a couple players, had a few good chances to cross it in. So overall, he was probably the best of the subs just because I think he affected the most going forward. So, that's pretty much about it overall. I'm just disappointed with the team and the thought process behind the team. Don't know if it's Arena, don't know if it's the leftover of Klinsmann and his ideas, but it's got to be more. We lost our first two games. We needed 6 points from these two. We didn't need 4. I know Arena came and say, oh, 4 is good enough. 4 is not good enough. We should be winning both of these games. We should easily beat Honduras. Great. We should beat Panama. We didn't. If we're not beating Panama, it should be our game that they managed to hold on. It wasn't. It was mainly their game for the most part. We held on for a large part of it, and then they held on for the end of it. And that was all. So, I'm just overall disappointed. I think they can do so much better. They can do so much more. And I don't know. I think some changes need to happen in the national team. I think a couple players need to check themselves and really question not just their ability, but also their desire to be on the field. Because, I don't know, when your main player on the field is probably your worst player, that there's some questions that need to be answered there. So, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts about this game? Who's your man of the match? Who's your worst man of the match? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future USA World Cup qualifier reviews. I'll see you at the next one. Peace out.